Have you ever noticed how some seniors travel the world well into their 80s while others struggle after just one trip? The difference isn't luck or genetics alone. It's about understanding what's really happening inside your body when you travel after 70 and knowing how to protect yourself from dangers that most people never see coming. Today we're going to talk about something that affects millions of older adults but rarely gets discussed honestly. The truth is, traveling after 70 carries specific health risks that go far beyond simple fatigue or inconvenience. These are real, measurable dangers that can affect your circulation, your immune system, your medications, and even your ability to recover once you return home. But here's the good news. Once you understand these risks, you can take practical steps to protect yourself and continue exploring the world safely. Let me start with a story about Gerald, a 79-year-old retired engineer who loved visiting his grandchildren across the country. Gerald considered himself healthy. He walked daily, ate well, and took his medications on time. But after a 6-hour flight to see his family, he noticed his left leg felt tight and slightly swollen. He dismissed it as normal travel discomfort. 3 days later, he collapsed with a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that had traveled from his leg to his lungs. Gerald survived, but barely. And the terrifying part, this is far more common than most people realize. The first hidden risk of traveling after 70 involves your circulatory system, and it's one of the most dangerous. As we age, our veins lose elasticity. They become less efficient at pushing blood back up to the heart, especially from the legs. At the same time, our heart's pumping strength naturally decreases. During a long flight or car ride, when you're sitting relatively still for hours, blood flow slows down significantly in your lower body. This creates the perfect conditions for blood clots to form. These clots, known as deep vein thrombosis, can develop silently. You might feel nothing at all or just mild discomfort that you attribute to sitting too long. But if that clot breaks free and travels to your lungs, it becomes a pulmonary embolism, which can be fatal. The risk increases dramatically if you're also dehydrated, which most travelers are without realizing it. Airplane cabins have humidity levels around 10 to 20%, drier than most deserts. Your body loses moisture through breathing alone, and many older adults intentionally drink less to avoid frequent bathroom trips during travel. But there's more to the circulation problem than just clots. Poor circulation during travel can cause significant swelling in your feet and ankles that persists for days or even weeks. This swelling isn't just uncomfortable. It strains your cardiovascular system, raises your blood pressure, and can trigger heart irregularities if you have underlying heart conditions. Your body is working overtime to compensate for pooled blood and fluid, and at 70 or 80, your heart doesn't have the same reserve capacity it once did. So what can you do? First, movement is absolutely essential. On flights longer than 2 hours, stand up and walk the aisle every 30 to 40 minutes. If you're traveling by car, stop every hour to walk around for at least 5 minutes. This isn't optional, it's necessary. Second, compression socks are genuinely helpful. They apply graduated pressure to your legs, helping push blood back toward your heart. Get them fitted properly at a medical supply store, not just any tight socks from a regular store. Third, hydration cannot be overstated. Drink water consistently before, during, and after travel, even if it means more bathroom stops. Your life may literally depend on it. Fourth, if you take aspirin or other blood thinners, talk to your doctor before traveling about whether any adjustments are needed. And finally, pay attention to any leg pain, swelling, or warmth that develops during or after travel. Don't dismiss it, get it checked immediately. The second major risk involves your immune system, and this one surprises many people. Most seniors know their immune system weakens with age, but they don't realize how dramatically this affects travel safety. Your immune system has a type of memory. When you're young and exposed to viruses or bacteria, your body creates antibodies that respond quickly if you encounter that pathogen again. As you age, this immune memory fades. Your body's ability to mount a fast, effective response to infections diminishes significantly. What might cause a mild cold in a 40-year-old can become pneumonia in a 75-year-old. Now combine this weakened immunity with travel environments. Airports are germ factories. You're touching surfaces that thousands of people have touched, breathing recycled air on planes, and if you're on a cruise ship or tour bus, you're in close quarters with dozens or hundreds of other people for extended periods. You're also likely exhausted from travel, eating irregularly, and not sleeping in your own bed, all of which further suppresses immune function. Let me tell you about Linda, 74, who went on a cruise to celebrate her 50th wedding anniversary. 3 days into the trip, she noticed a slight cough and felt more tired than usual. She didn't want to miss activities, so she pushed through. By the time the cruise ended, Linda had developed full pneumonia. She spent a week in the hospital in a city far from home, turning what should have been a joyful celebration into a medical emergency. The virus she caught was likely something many younger passengers carried without even knowing it, just mild symptoms for them, but Linda's aging immune system couldn't handle it. Your immune system also becomes less regulated with age. Sometimes it overreacts, causing excessive inflammation that makes you sicker than the infection itself. Other times it underreacts, letting infections spread before mounting any defense. This unpredictability makes travel particularly risky because you can't always count on your body to respond appropriately to new exposures. The practical steps here are crucial. First, get vaccinated. Flu shots, pneumonia vaccines, COVID boosters, shingles vaccines, whatever your doctor recommends based on your health and travel plans. These aren't just suggestions, they're essential armor for your weakened immune system. Second, practice rigorous hygiene. Wash your hands frequently and thoroughly. Use hand sanitizer when washing isn't available. Don't touch your face, especially your eyes, nose, and mouth. These seem simple, but they're powerfully effective. Third, boost your immune system before you travel. This means eating nutrient-rich foods, especially vegetables and fruits high in vitamins C and D, getting adequate sleep for at least a week before departure, and managing stress levels. Fourth, if you start feeling even mildly sick during travel, rest immediately. Don't push through. Your body needs all its resources to fight off whatever is brewing. And fifth, consider avoiding travel during peak flu and cold seasons if you're particularly vulnerable or have chronic conditions like COPD or heart disease. The third hidden danger involves something you probably take every day: your medications. This risk is subtle but potentially catastrophic. Most chronic conditions that affect seniors, like high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, and thyroid disorders, require precise medication timing. Your body expects these medications at specific intervals, and your condition is controlled based on this regularity. Travel disrupts everything. Time zones throw off your schedule. If you normally take blood pressure medication at 7 in the morning and you travel across 3 time zones, when exactly should you take it? Is it still 7 in the morning your body time or 7 in the morning local time? Most people guess, and guessing with critical medications can be dangerous. Then there's the issue of medication storage. Many medications are temperature sensitive. Leaving them in a hot car or cold luggage compartment can reduce their effectiveness without you knowing it. Some medications interact badly with altitude, dehydration, or changes in diet, all common during travel. Robert, 82, traveled to visit family in Colorado. He was on several heart medications that he took religiously at home, but during his trip, between the time change and the busy schedule of family activities, he missed a couple of doses. At altitude, where the air is thinner and his heart had to work harder, those missed doses mattered enormously. Robert developed dangerous heart rhythm irregularities that required emergency medical attention. But medication risks go beyond just your prescriptions. Many seniors take over-the-counter medications while traveling for headaches, allergies, indigestion, or sleep troubles. These can interact dangerously with your regular prescriptions in ways you might not anticipate. Pain relievers can interfere with blood pressure medications. Sleep aids can interact with heart medications. Antacids can affect how your body absorbs other drugs. Here's what you need to do. First, before any significant trip, sit down with your doctor or pharmacist and go through every medication you take. Ask specifically how to handle time zone changes. Some medications need precise timing, others have more flexibility. Get written instructions, don't rely on memory. Second, carry all medications in their original containers in your carry-on luggage, never in checked bags that might be delayed, lost, or exposed to extreme temperatures. Third, bring more than you think you'll need. If it's a 10-day trip, bring 14 days worth of medication. Trips get extended, flights get delayed, and you don't want to run out. Fourth, set alarms on your phone to remind you when to take medications, especially during the first few days when your schedule is most disrupted. Fifth, research where you can get emergency medication refills at your destination just in case. And sixth, avoid taking any new over-the-counter medications without checking for interactions. Either ask a pharmacist or use a reliable drug interaction checker online. The fourth major risk is environmental stress, and this one is particularly challenging because it affects multiple body systems simultaneously. As you age, your body's ability to regulate temperature decreases significantly. You don't sweat as efficiently in heat, and you don't generate warmth as effectively in cold. Your perception of temperature also becomes less accurate, so you might not realize you're getting dangerously overheated or hypothermic until it's too late. Travel often means sudden exposure to very different climates. You leave a mild spring day at home and arrive at a hot, humid beach or a cold mountain destination. Your body needs time to adjust, but travel itineraries rarely allow for that. Add in changes in air quality, especially if you're going from clean air to polluted cities and your respiratory system faces challenges it's not prepared for. Higher altitudes present another problem with less oxygen available with each breath. Your heart and lungs work harder, which can be dangerous if you have cardiovascular or respiratory conditions. Then there's jet lag. Most people think of jet lag as just feeling tired, but for older adults, it's much more serious. Your body's circadian rhythm becomes more rigid with age, making it harder to adjust to new time zones. Jet lag disrupts sleep, which affects everything: your immune function, your cognitive ability, your balance, your mood, even your digestion. For someone over 70, severe jet lag can last a week or more, and during that time, you're functioning at reduced capacity, which increases risks of falls, confusion, and illness. Harold, 81, traveled from the northeast to the southwest for his grandson's wedding. He went from cool, moist air to hot, dry desert climate, from sea level to significant altitude, and crossed 2 time zones. Within 36 hours, Harold was dizzy, confused, and ultimately fainted at the wedding reception. He was severely dehydrated, his blood pressure had dropped due to altitude effects on his medication, and he was profoundly jet-lagged. The combination of environmental stresses overwhelmed his body's ability to adapt. What can you do to protect yourself? First, research your destination's environment thoroughly. Check average temperatures, humidity levels, air quality index, and altitude. If any of these differ significantly from home, plan accordingly. Second, allow time for gradual adjustment. If you're going somewhere hot, arrive early and spend the first day or two in air conditioning, going outside for short periods only. If it's high altitude, plan very light activity for the first 48 hours. Third, stay aggressively hydrated, even more than you think necessary, especially in dry climates or at altitude. Fourth, dress in layers so you can adjust quickly to temperature changes. Fifth, if you're crossing more than 2 time zones, consider starting to shift your sleep schedule a few days before departure, going to bed and waking up progressively earlier or later to match your destination. Sixth, once you arrive, get sunlight exposure during local daytime hours to help reset your circadian rhythm. And seventh, talk to your doctor about whether your medications need adjustment for altitude or climate changes. The fifth hidden danger is one that many people overlook entirely: mental and emotional overstimulation. Your brain changes as you age. Processing speed slows down, multitasking becomes harder, and sensory filtering becomes less efficient. This means that environments with lots of noise, crowds, visual stimulation, and rapid changes can be genuinely overwhelming in ways they wouldn't have been when you were younger. Travel is inherently overstimulating. You're navigating unfamiliar airports, dealing with crowds, processing new visual information constantly, managing logistics like tickets and luggage, and often trying to stick to a packed itinerary. For a 75 or 80-year-old brain, this can trigger significant anxiety and confusion. You might find yourself feeling disoriented or unable to make simple decisions. You might become uncharacteristically irritable or emotional. These aren't signs of cognitive decline necessarily. They're signs that your brain is overwhelmed and needs rest. There's also an emotional dimension to travel that affects seniors differently than younger people. Returning to places that held meaning earlier in life can evoke powerful emotions. That beautiful city you visited 30 years ago has changed. The restaurant where you had your first date is now a parking lot. These experiences can trigger profound sadness or a sense of loss that catches you off guard. Even positive nostalgia can be emotionally draining. Martha, 78, returned to Paris, a city she'd loved visiting in her 40s and 50s. She expected joy and fond memories. Instead, she found herself feeling sad and exhausted. The Paris she remembered was gone, replaced by something unfamiliar. She couldn't walk as far as she once did, couldn't enjoy the same activities, and felt out of place. The emotional weight of recognizing how much she had changed and how much time had passed left her depressed for weeks after returning home. So how do you manage this? First, accept that travel will be more mentally and emotionally tiring than it used to be, and that's okay. Plan accordingly with a slower pace and more downtime. Second, avoid rushed itineraries. The days of packing in 5 activities before lunch are over. Choose 1 or 2 meaningful experiences per day and allow plenty of rest between them. Third, build in quiet time. Find a peaceful spot, a park bench, a quiet cafe, and just sit. Let your brain rest from constant stimulation. Fourth, if you're revisiting meaningful places from your past, prepare yourself emotionally. Acknowledge that things will have changed and that you've changed too. Consider whether the emotional risk is worth it for you. Fifth, travel with people who understand and respect your pace and needs. Don't let others rush you or make you feel bad about needing breaks. And sixth, listen to your emotional state. If you're feeling overwhelmed, sad, or anxious, it's okay to change plans, skip activities, or even cut a trip short. Your mental and emotional well-being matter more than any itinerary. The sixth and perhaps most underestimated risk is what happens after you return home. Most people think once the trip is over, the health risks end. But for seniors, recovery from travel stress can take weeks or even months, and during that recovery period, you're vulnerable to a cascade of health problems. Your body experiences significant physical stress during travel: disrupted sleep, irregular eating, dehydration, prolonged sitting, exposure to new germs, medication timing issues, and environmental challenges. When you're younger, your body bounces back quickly. But after 70, your body's repair and recovery mechanisms are slower and less efficient. Inflammation that would resolve in a few days for a younger person can persist for weeks in an older body. Sleep debt accumulates and takes much longer to repay. Your immune system, already taxed by travel exposures, remains weakened for an extended period, making you susceptible to infections you would normally fight off easily. Carol, 79, returned from a wonderful cruise feeling tired but happy. She figured she'd feel better after a good night's sleep in her own bed, but the fatigue didn't lift. A week later, she developed a cough. Within days, it was pneumonia severe enough to require hospitalization. The doctors explained that her body was still recovering from the stress of the cruise when she was exposed to a virus. Her weakened, recovering immune system couldn't mount an adequate defense. There's also the issue of what I call recovery debt: the swelling in your legs from prolonged travel, the inflammation in your blood vessels, the disrupted circadian rhythm, the accumulated sleep deprivation. All of these create a debt that your body must repay. If you jump right back into your normal routine immediately after returning from a trip, you never give your body the chance to recover. This can lead to a gradual decline in health that you might not connect to the travel that happened weeks earlier. Here's what you must do. First, plan recovery time into your trip from the beginning. If you're gone for a week, plan at least 3 to 4 days at home with minimal commitments before resuming normal activities. Second, prioritize sleep in the days following travel. Go to bed early, sleep late if possible, take naps. Your body does most of its healing during sleep. Third, stay hydrated and eat nutritious, easy-to-digest foods. Your digestive system has been stressed too and needs support. Fourth, do gentle movement like short walks but avoid strenuous exercise until you're fully recovered. Fifth, pay close attention to any symptoms that develop in the weeks after travel: persistent fatigue, cough, fever, unusual aches, changes in appetite or mood. Don't dismiss these as normal. They could indicate your body is struggling to recover. And sixth, if you have chronic conditions, monitor them closely. Check your blood pressure, blood sugar, or whatever metrics matter for your health more frequently than usual for 2 weeks after travel. Now let me tie all of this together, because these 6 risks don't operate in isolation. They interact and amplify each other. Poor circulation makes you more susceptible to medication timing issues because your body can't distribute medications as efficiently. Weakened immunity makes environmental stresses more dangerous because your body can't defend against new exposures. Mental overstimulation affects your judgment, making you less likely to take proper precautions. And all of these stresses make recovery slower and more difficult. The key insight here is that traveling after 70 isn't impossible or even inadvisable. It's about traveling differently. It requires honest assessment of your body's capabilities and limitations, thorough planning, slower packing, and serious attention to prevention and recovery. The goal isn't to stop exploring or enjoying new experiences. The goal is to do so in ways that respect and protect your changing body. Think about travel as you approach it now, not as a test of endurance or an opportunity to check off as many destinations as possible, but as a chance for meaningful, intentional experiences that enrich your life without compromising your health. One beautifully planned, well-paced trip where you feel good throughout and recover smoothly is worth far more than 3 rushed trips that leave you exhausted and sick. So here's what I want you to do. If you're planning any travel in the coming months, take out a piece of paper right now. Write down these 6 risk categories: circulation, immunity, medications, environment, mental stimulation, and recovery. Under each one, write at least 2 specific actions you'll take to address that risk for your trip. Be concrete. Not just stay hydrated, but drink 8 ounces of water every 2 hours, or set phone alarms for medication times adjusted to new time zone. Share this information with your travel companions so they understand your needs and can help support you. Talk to your doctor about your specific health conditions and travel plans. Don't assume they'll bring it up, you need to ask directly. What do I need to know about traveling with my conditions? How should I adjust my medications? What warning signs should I watch for? And finally, give yourself permission to travel at your own pace. If others want to rush from place to place, let them. Your health and well-being are more valuable than keeping up with anyone else's schedule or expectations. The wisdom of age includes knowing what truly matters, and your health matters most. If you found this information helpful, please share it with other seniors in your life who love to travel. These hidden risks affect millions of older adults, but most people never hear about them until it's too late. By understanding what's really happening in your body during and after travel, you can make choices that let you continue exploring safely for many years to come. Your adventures don't have to end at 70, they just need to be approached with knowledge, preparation, and respect for the remarkable body that has carried you this far. Safe travels and take good care of yourself.